Good afternoon, good morning. This is Mark Johnson from Loyalty360. Hope everyone's happy, safe, and well. I want to welcome you back to another edition of Loyalty Live. In this series, we talk to the leading agencies, technology partners, and consultants in the space of customer channel and brand loyalty about the technology trends and best practices that impact a brand's ability to drive unique experiences, enhance engagement, but most importantly, impact customer loyalty. Loyalty Live allows for a deeper insight into the state of customer loyalty as we surface challenges that we see from the brand marketers who are members of Loyalty360, and we take these challenges and opportunities back to our partner network on the technology and consulting side and get their perspective, get their feedback. So it helps brands to understand and evaluate some of the challenges in a kind of a unique manner. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Susan Stein. She's the Senior Director of Reporting and Insights at Baesman. How are you today, Susan?
I'm good, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Good. First off, when we do these, we'd like to start off with a little bit of a personal approach to get to know the person we're talking to on a little deeper role. So, we'd like to know a little bit about you, your role at Baesman, your background, and maybe a fun fact, a passion. You have 20 kids, you like to scuba dive. That'd be great to know.
Well, I wish I was that interesting, but unfortunately, I don't have that kind of interesting background. But anyway, I've been at Baesman now for almost 9 years, which is a little bit crazy for me to think about. I've had a variety of roles over that period, from analytics, reporting, and account management. But really, for the past several years, my responsibility has been focused on leading the analytics and operations organization. And we're really responsible for campaign execution, in addition to generating actionable insights, which, of course, drive our strategic client partnerships. So prior to being at Baesman, I worked on the brand side in marketing, analytics, and web operations. And then going way back, I sort of started out in financial services consulting. So that's a little bit about my professional background. A fun fact, I guess, I don't have 20 kids, but I've got 3 young kids, 9, 7, and 5, which is definitely fun, but super busy, as you can probably imagine. To kind of keep my head on straight, I really focus on prioritizing physical fitness. So I know we're going to be talking a little bit about supply chain issues, but our pandemic purchase was a Peloton. And thankfully, we didn't have to wait too long for it. So we've got that in-house now, and that really helps keep me sane. So
that's good. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
For those who may not know about Baesman, could you give a little bit introduction about to Baesman, what you guys do, how you do it, and maybe the industries that you focus or prioritize?
Sure. So at Baesman, we really focus on CRM and loyalty strategy and driving results through data. I mentioned a little bit about that in my intro there. So this data-driven mindset really allows us to partner effectively with brands to create personalized outreach campaigns, both digitally and physically through email, SMS, and variable print direct mail. So, more and more brands are working to foster a meaningful personal relationship with their customers, because that is really what the consumer is demanding. This expectation that in this day and age, with all this data, businesses where they spend their money will be in tune with their individual buying preferences. And that's really where we step in. And you can probably imagine that cuts across a large swath of industries, retail especially, but also home services, healthcare, professional sports, restaurants. The list kind of goes on and on.
Okay. I know one of the industries that Baesman focuses a lot in is retail, obviously with Columbus, with the number of the retailers you have in the fashion industry there.
Yeah.
When you look at some of the challenges that retailers had to go through during COVID, some of the supply chain constraints, also a lot of technology development, buying online, picking up in store, buying online, picking up curbside. What have you seen from a supply chain impact from brands that may have impacted their marketing or customer loyalty strategies?
Sure, yeah. So, it definitely varies, as you mentioned, sort of based on industry. But for some retailers who've seen strong results, despite some of those supply chain impacts, pulling back on their promotional cadence has really made sense. The thought process being that they may be in a better in-stock position than their competitors and are able to protect their margin. We're also seeing a pullback on promos for those who've been harder hit to more efficiently absorb the rising cost of goods. The other thing is that brands are having to think harder about their personalization strategies and how that correlates to product offering. But on the flip side, some brands are really approaching things a little bit differently and pulling forward their promotional cadence to spread demand out over the holiday period to hopefully mitigate against some of the supply chain headaches. There's also a lot of discussion around pricing strategy happening now to offset some of the issues that brands are faced with, which will continue for a while.
Okay, great. When you look at some of these supply chain issues, obviously it's impacting retail, a number of different industries. When you look at it from a brand perspective, they want to keep their consumers engaged. They want to provide a positive customer experience whenever possible. I was just reading some research today, I think from McKinsey, that said that 75% of consumers who have a bad experience with a brand are more likely to switch now than ever before. When you look at providing that positive experience, what advice do you give to clients during this time?
Yeah, so there's several tactics that we're really keeping top of mind right now. So obviously focusing on the categories that are best positioned for the holidays is critical, and making sure that attention to detail is carried across all channels. Strategically over communicating and focusing on customer service. So you kind of mentioned this previously, meeting the customer where they are. We saw a lot of really innovative thinking about how to serve customers coming out of the early days of the pandemic. So really focusing on creating a great customer experience, so that, even if there is a disappointment about not being able to get that one favorite product, the customer is still walking away with a positive feeling about the brand, and then of course keeps coming back. Another thing that we've been talking about too is pivoting to communication around social advocacy, because we've learned that 70% of consumers want to know how the brands they support are addressing social and environmental issues. So if brands can't reward based on product availability, a great strategy is really to give customers the option to use their rewards to donate to a charity of their choice. So these are, just a few things that we've been thinking about, but just some things to keep in mind as we sort of navigate through these unprecedented times, really.
Absolutely. So when you look at the retailers that are having some of these supply chain product issues, shipping delays, even keeping everything staffed up, right? We see that as a challenge as well. We're not sure where all the employees went, but it seems to be impacting all the industries. Do you see it as an opportunity for brands to prioritize the people in their customer loyalty programs, their loyal members, or giving members different benefits? Potentially free shipping, which is table stakes in a lot of industries now, or something different during the holiday season?
Yes, definitely. Prioritizing loyalty members is certainly a dominant strategy we're seeing in holiday campaigns this year. Brands know that those who lead in loyalty in their industry grow their revenue faster than their competitors. Not only are they more likely to grow revenue faster by focusing marketing efforts with loyalty members, they're also providing the perception of prioritizing loyalty members who are concerned about holiday shopping and the supply chain this year.
Okay, interesting. And when you look at advice that you may give to these brands, right? It's an area that you focus on. What piece of advice would you give to a retailer on how to leverage their loyalty program, some of that first party and zero party data to have to keep consumers engaged, or even enhance the customer experience perspective?
Yeah, so we already covered a little bit about social advocacy, which is an important consideration, especially during the holiday season. So really being thoughtful and innovative in how customers are able to engage with your brand in a meaningful way. I also mentioned strategically over communicating, and really that just means transparency and follow-up in challenging situations. So retailers, don't want to leave their customers wondering, especially their most loyal and valuable customers, which just leads obviously to increased frustration and anger. We all have experienced that. So, and then finally, I think if there's one thing that we've learned in the past 18 months or so, it's really to be prepared for the unexpected. So one of the things that we've really learned is that the retailers that are succeeding during challenging times are the ones that are able to adapt and just plan to be agile.
Excellent. Well, Susan, it was great meeting you finally, getting to know a little bit more about you, and obviously hearing some of the things that you guys are seeing in the retail space with regard to supply chain and some of the optimization opportunities for brands. It's definitely great to hear that. So thank you for taking the time to share that with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And thank you everyone for listening. I think this will be our last episode of 2021. Look forward to having you back in January, I think that is. That's right, January 4th for our session with Loyalty Methods. Have a wonderful holiday, and thank you very much.